Yo, it's Austin, and it's time for Bad Disney Games. Now, we've already done Pixar, that's in the past now, so we're gonna move forward, or back, I guess, and talk about bad Disney games.
We're lucky that licensed Disney games have had so many amazing games throughout the years, especially when you talk about that early 90s Disney Capcom era. Freaking Goof Troop, DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, Chip 'n Dale. All of these games really had something magical about them. Don't even get me started on the Aladdin games for the Genesis and SNES. Holy shit. Okay, real quick though, let's be real. The Genesis one is the superior one. It had better looking sprites, animation, and the sword gameplay was rad as shit. Sure, it wasn't like 100% accurate to the movies, what with Aladdin murdering people because he felt like it. But as far as being a game goes, the Genesis one always took the cake for me. I don't know. But this isn't about the good ones, this is about the bad, the terrible, the ones that make you want to take a Dumbo-esque acid trip and end up somewhere in a ditch. I mean, shit, I'd play that. Also, hello, I will not be talking about Kingdom Hearts, you jerk. I like Kingdom Hearts. Kind of? I mean, it's kind of weird and nonsensical and dumb, but I still like it. Anyone else excited for Kingdom Hearts 3? I want it. Also, Star Wars doesn't count. We're talking movies, TV shows, and original characters, you silly.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty excited. Growing up, we would always rent random games, and it was kind of just like throwing a dart into the darkness. You never knew if it was gonna be good or the worst. So that means we're gonna be revisiting some old memories as well as making some new ones, and I thought, hey, we might as well start off by making a new one by talking about Disney's Adventures in the Magic Kingdom for the NES.
But isn't that Capcom? Didn't you just say that Disney Capcom era games were good? Okay, well, you know, they can't all be zingers. That's just what's gonna happen when you're shoveling games out the door. A lot of people seem to dislike Tailspin for the NES, but I always found that one memorable. Maybe I just really liked Tailspin. No, not the Genesis one. Blech. Adventures in Magic Kingdom came out like 4 months after I was born, so there's no way I could have caught this one. Hell, I didn't even know about it until a few years back, because I guess the world tried to forget it existed. The US box looks inconspicuous enough, but if you travel across the world and check out the Scandinavian box, you'll see Goofy grabbing his own ass and ready to get the hell out of there. Premier worldwide arcade game designer Capcom, eh? Okay, let's see what you got. We start with Goofy demanding your name and no prisoners. But it turns out that he's an irresponsible dickhead and forgot the keys to the gate to the parade? I don't know, man, but they sure made Mickey look terrifying. Unwilling to do their work, they force you, the child, to find the keys in order to rescue the parade. As far as Disney-themed games go, it's actually not the worst concept I've heard. Having gone to Disney World when I was younger, the concept of designing a game around visiting the Magic Kingdom is actually pretty endearing. And hey, musically and aesthetically, it works pretty well. She was uncredited, but Yoko Shimomura did the soundtrack here, and it certainly sounds like a good old 1990s Capcom Disney time. But extra, read all about it. This shit's fucked. The Magic Kingdom is split into 5 different levels that all hold one of the keys that you need. You can get one of the keys just by walking around the map and answering trivia, and well, that's innocent enough. All the other levels are split into theme rides that resemble famous Disney World attractions. You've got Space Mountain, which is like a first-person QuickTime event minigame. Oh shit, is this the first QTE? Like actually, someone tell me if I'm wrong here. You've also got a racing ride based on Autopia or Tomorrowland Speedway, which is pretty normal, I guess. Don't forget about a minecart ride based on Big Thunder Mountain. And lastly, you've got levels based on the Haunted Mansion and Pirates of the Caribbean. You know, this sounds all cute and dandy. Having been on a majority of these rides, with the exception of Haunted Mansion because I'm a coward, I thought it was neat. However, I don't remember dying in real life at Disneyland? Sure, whatever. It's a video game. But imagine going to Disneyland. You, an impressionable young child who just wants to get your snotty hands on an autograph book and do the electric slide with the Little Mermaid. You step into this theme park and there's Mickey, Donald, and Goofy. Hey kid, we need your help. Go find the keys for us. I think one of them is on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. So you're like, okay, cool. I'll help you out, my trusted Disney cartoon friends. I look up to you, and also my bedroom is you. Then suddenly you're dodging guys throwing barrels at you, massive skeletons throwing bones, saving children who were also kidnapped. Mickey's been throwing kids into this trap all day.
This will show them the darkness.
Oh, and I guess the game's just bad. It controls like nards, you're gonna die constantly, and you can beat the game in 20 minutes once you get it down. Get out of here.
All right, let's shoot forward a decade. Have you ever played a game all the way through, I'm talking 100%, and not remember anything? Like, let alone that you even played it? Well, that was the case with me in PK Out of the Shadows.
Donald Duck is such a goober. If I had to pick one Disney character which I identified the most with, it would probably be him. He's always finding himself in weird situations and games, a lot of which are pretty decent. Quackshot on the Genesis is a hell of a 2D platformer that was pretty innovative in a lot of areas. Maui Mallard for the SNES, okay, well, it's Donald Duck, I'm not gonna hear otherwise, but that one's pretty rad, and we got a ninja-ass Detective Duck out of it. Not all of them are hits, and some of them might be Kingdom Hearts, but I don't think that many of them were bad. Well, that is, with the exception of PK Out of the Shadows. Oh my god. PK, or Papernick, is based on an old Italian comic book of the same name. I mean, to be frank, the concept of it is pretty rad. They took a more adult approach to Donald Duck and made him the space-traveling superhero, embraced the edgy 90s look, and just ran with it. The game, however, it's kind of like they watched 15 minutes of Sly Cooper and decided to make a third-person shooter platformer. And, well, it kind of feels like that, too. PK has this thick cell shading on the characters and everything looks pretty cute. I mean, this was early-ish PS2, so we had our blue discs and it wasn't like the best thing ever, but it had a style and the cover art really stood out to me. I don't remember beating or even playing this game, but apparently I did at some point. The best words I can use to describe PK would be that it feels like a slog. It can't really decide if it wants to be a third-person shooter platformer or a stealth game. And because of that, everything just feels like a big old mess. Not to mention the frame rate's kinda shy. Anytime something more than PK hops on the screen, we drop like 15 of them. Like, no, PK, come on. It's okay, buddy. I don't know, it's really hard to say too much about PK because it also really doesn't know what it is. You have to save these scientist guys who will just appear at random, always with a timer, so you're in a sudden rush to save them. If you miss them, oh well, you miss them for good. It's linear and level based, so you can't redo anything as you play through. You collect gadgets and upgrades, but they all have one utility, so they don't really add much. I mean, hey, they tried. They gave us a gadget minigame and, well, that's about it. But you do get a really weird looking suit when you collect all the gadgets, so I guess that's cool. Unfortunately, I couldn't finish the game because I got to a level transition and Donald decided to just do this. And I forgot to save even once during the game and I was near the end. It's because, you know, why would I save the game? So I guess that's the end of that. Run free, Donald. Run forever!
What's going on? Don't get mad at me.
When people think fondly of classic Disney films, I feel like a lot of them gravitate towards the 80s and the 90s era of movies. Films like Aladdin, The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Mulan, there's just so many classics. However, when the 2000s rolled around and Pixar and 3D animation seemed to take over, they kinda hit a little bit of a weird stride, I think. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at Disney's first attempt at a full-length feature film as a video game with Dinosaur for the PS1.
I didn't see this movie. Did you? Did anyone? Apparently it was the 5th highest grossing film the year it came out. Well, I can say one thing, somehow it got a video game. And it sure is a video game. I don't have anything else to say here.
Moving on, I want to talk about Treasure Planet. Yo, I remember being like super hyped for this movie when it was coming out, and it even got multiple video games, including these two on the PlayStation family of consoles, and I didn't own one, so let's try them both out.
So we've got a strange case here of completely different video games, both of which came out prior to the movie. Speaking of, I feel like Treasure Planet might have completely slipped under everyone's radar. It's got a super interesting history of being a movie that was pitched around the same time as The Little Mermaid. It's technically a remake of the Italian Treasure Island in outer space. Maybe it's just me, but space pirates are numero uno my aesthetic. I don't give a fuck what you think about the plausibility of a pirate spaceship floating around in space and people being able to survive. Rogue Galaxy was a game that captured me just for that alone, and seeing it in Beyond Good and Evil 2 makes me even more hyped for it. But damn, if this movie didn't bomb to all hell. Maybe it was the insanely high budget for all the 3D animation in tandem with 2D animation, but it's no surprise Disney seems to forget about this one. It could have just been Disney fatigue or something, because Lilo and Stitch came out literally half a year earlier and absolutely crushed the box office. Or you know, because the name of this video is Bad Disney Games, maybe they played the games and said, nah, fuck it.
Alright, since both of these games are very different, let's get started with the PlayStation 1 version, Treasure Planet for the PS1.
Man, my backwards compatible PS3 never fails to disappoint. All of my cutscenes have rendered thusly. Yep, this is the Treasure Planet that I remember. Oh God, Jim looks so dumpy. Look at his bad neck posture and his run cycle is so, I don't know, did I make this game and forget about it? Well, if you can't tell from looking at it, Treasure Planet is pretty much just one of the most uninspired PS1 era platformers you've ever seen. Each level has a certain amount of emblems to collect, and you need so many in order to unlock the next level. Okay, so like, I know this is a video game thing, but do you remember in Treasure Planet when Jim went down into a random mine shaft and murdered a bunch of creatures in order to help them out? I don't know, man. Now, thankfully, they didn't let the box art lie to us, because yes, we do in fact get to mess around on Jim's rocket-powered sailboard and go Alponian solar cruising in terrible racing levels. Okay, I mean, this is probably the best part of the game, but man, I sure hate the fact that you just take damage from bumping into the sides of walls. There's little mini games here and there, you know, standard 3D platforming action, but all in all, Treasure Planet for the PS1 is pretty damn forgettable. The boss fights are too damn easy and mundane that nothing really stands out, so we might as well move on to the main offender.
Are you ready?
What are we doing here?
No.
We need to get to the planet before
No,
anyone
stop
else
it.
gets there.
Don't do it.
Now, I know the woes of being a developer for a licensed game. A lot of the times you have deadlines that are shot to shit because you have to ship a product right now. However, I feel like Magenta Software and Disney saw Jak and Daxter and thought long and hard to themselves for a good 5 minutes before saying, okay, let's do that. And you know what? It sure wants to be Jak and Daxter. Oh my God, he's even got the little footy spick, what the? Okay, I gotta try to be fair. To be completely impartial, the beginning of Treasure Planet shows a ton more potential than its PS1 counterpart. Each stage has 5 objectives that you have to complete in order to unlock beacons. Each beacon acts as an emblem with certain amounts of them needed to progress to different levels. 3 goals are always unique and 2 are the same, collecting all the doubloons and green energy spheres for some reason. Every single level. Granted, you don't need to always collect everything in order to have enough beacons, but it just feels so safe and unimaginative. This is Treasure fucking Planet, the movie no one saw but I thought was pretty good. Surely it deserves better than this, but hey, sky surfing is back and you know what? It's pretty alright. This time you have entire levels with a free roam aspect for the sky surfing. Yeah, some of them are still tied down to the racing formula, but damn, being able to glide around feels pretty good. You can even jump around and hold R1 to put the sail away and charge through stuff. And hey, you don't take damage when bumping into the sides, so that's pretty cool. But you know what does happen? In a race, if you fall off the side of a cliff or die, it's just over. And if you die, all the green energies you've been collecting resets to 0. Oh no, the doubloons are fine, but yoink, goodbye green energies. Time to get them all again. Yes, that means despite the fact that you have unlimited lives and respawn close to immediately, you gotta restart again. It doesn't help that the camera doesn't want to help you, and it's difficult to tell what's going to end up being an instant kill. Jumping can be wonky, and combat is, You know how in Jak and Daxter you had a multiple hit combo? Well, Jim Hawkins only has a singular hit that sure takes a long ass time to recharge. I mean, you can try to chain it with the spin attack, but it's pretty useless, especially when enemies are all over you. I can't really tell what the blue orbs do in the slightest. The minigames that were present in the first game are here, and they don't really add anything to the game, unless you enjoy like whack-a-mole. Level design begins to make less and less sense, and you know what's awesome? Missing a single doubloon, because they can be hidden in any crate. And they do respawn if you die. Nope, I'm good. What could have been a neat game is just,
But let me tell you, you're not ready. Every game we've played so far is a freaking masterpiece compared to what's coming up. Every game, even maybe on the channel. I thought I'd hit rock bottom when I played Flintstones for the Master System, but no, this is worse. Let me show you the new rock bottom, the rockier bottom. Fantasia for the Sega Genesis.
I could say many things about Fantasia to start with. After all, there are just so many questions that could be asked. But instead, how about I let you watch me play the game for, I don't know, 10 seconds. Does that do it for you? Until like a week ago, I had no idea that a game based on the classic 1940s film existed. A film that supposedly I watched like 100 times when I was a little child. A landmark film for the animation industry as well as Disney in general. Somehow, 50 years later, Infogrames managed to get their grubs on the license and deliver us just such an awful experience. Now, some of you know that I can be up in arms with some of the interactive experiences that Infogrames threw our way, but none, and I say none, are as insulting as Fantasia. And you know what? I'm gonna say they had no excuse. On the same system, less than a year before, Sega AM7 released Castle of Illusion on the Genesis, and that one is still perfectly fine. Capcom had been knocking it out on the NES for years. So what happened, guys? Okay, for those who can't really tell, let me explain. Imagine a platformer in which landing a jump stops all of your momentum. Also one in which your jump speed and trajectory depend on how you're moving. Then take a second to realize in order to correctly butt stomp things, you need to press down. Yes, it doesn't just happen like it does in Mario, who at this point should have been the staple for platformers. Or hell, even Sonic the Hedgehog. No sir, you gotta press down. Makes sense. Imagine not fully understanding what's going on while this Genesis rendition of classic Fantasia music fills up your ear holes. Imagine playing a level all the way through only to restart it for a reason you don't understand. Because, yes, you need to collect the musical notes in each stage for the level to be considered finished. Objects in the foreground completely obstructing your view of enemies as well as these musical notes. Everything's out to kill you, enemies take multiple butt stomps to kill, and my favorite, Mickey having magic ammo. This is the magical Disney adventure I've been searching for this entire time. I've no need for the DreamWorks. Be gone with ye, Studio Ghibli. No, I've cast aside Disney as well. Welcome to my heart, Infogrames. Roll out the carpet for Fantasia. The Sega Genesis Master.
Never do that again.
Hey, thank you all for watching, and special thanks to our Patreon supporters. Without you guys, we'd be done for. Our first month has been a blast, and I can't wait to see what comes next. If you liked the video, why not subscribe? Or you can check out my older video on bad Pixar games, or hell, anime, maybe? I like bad games, it's no good. Goodbye.